Guys, I messed up. I messed up a lot. I mess up every day. But you know the good news? He didn't. Jesus didn't mess up. He didn't mess up. And that covers every mess up that we make. Like I said, I mess up every day. Everybody does. And some may do worse than others. But because he didn't, he sees us all the same. So, I mean, I don't know how long it's going to be. I don't think it should be short, but I just want to talk about his mercy. He is so merciful. One of the biggest mistakes that we make as Christians is relying on ourselves, on our own doings, which I've talked about this before, but it's a big deal. He's so merciful. Every mistake we make, instead of dwelling on how much we messed up, we get to rejoice. We get to thank him for not messing up. He through all the temptations that we mess up in, he was tempted more than any of us. He was tempted more than any of us. And he didn't fail. So we get to rely on his strength. Because he didn't, we didn't, through his eyes. Because of the cross. That's the key to everything, is the cross. Everything points to the cross. Anything that has to do with faith, mercy, strength, any of that, it all points to the cross. Because of Jesus. Without that, without him, then it would matter. Nobody would make it. But that's the whole point. He knew he had to do what he had to do because he loves us that much. And with that being said, God had to watch his only son go through that because he loved us so much. His mercy is more than what we take it for granted. It's more than what we see it as. We always, we'll post comments and this and that saying, well, I feel like I've just done so much, I can't get straight, I can't get off the path that I'm on, no matter how much I love God and want to follow him, I mess up too much. But that's the point, because that's what my own issue was. I messed up too much. I felt like I wasn't worthy, and he's more than that. God is more than what we think he is. He really, really is. No matter how close somebody gets to him, there's always more of him than to what we don't know. There's always a bigger mystery to him than what we know. And mercy is key to all of that, for us to be able to depend on that. Because of the cross. That's really it, guys. His mercy is big. It's a big deal. He's so merciful. He's so forgiving. Because he didn't mess up. It's as if we didn't mess up. No matter how bad it is, no matter how far you've gone, you're never too far for him. And just having the faith in that alone is all that matters. He wants our hearts, not our doings. He doesn't focus on what we've done or what we didn't do. He focuses on our hearts and how much faith we believe that he did that for us. Not because we did it for ourselves, or that we're saying, here, God, we did this for you. But to know that he did it for us is bigger. It's big. It's major, guys. He's amazing. But yeah, just had to share it. It just feels good to know that we have a God that is so loving, so forgiving, he's so merciful. Like I said, there's not a single thing that we can do that would push his love away from us because of the cross. Focusing on the cross does it all. we want to, sometimes we'll be in a bad situation, hard time in our lives, and we just want to pray for it to go away. Want him to make it better. And sometimes we'll dwell on our mistakes, feeling like he wouldn't. Like, why would he? I've done this, and that. Why would he? Well, you're not putting your faith in his mercy, his forgiveness. I mean, if we can't instead of that say thank you for dying for everything that we've done, then what is the point? Why did he die? Don't make his, everything that he did for us and dying on the cross, all what he went through for no reason. Because that's what I did. It's so much bigger. And even though it's harder to do, it's much bigger and better. It's more true for you to feel forgived than to feel ashamed. So don't feel ashamed of your sin. I mean, you could feel ashamed for your sin for that moment, but don't dwell on it. Don't feel like you went too far. Don't ever feel like that. Because, I mean, yeah, you could feel ashamed for that moment, and then you thank God for what he's done. Thank you for covering my sins. Thank you. I mean, it's instead of him going back in time saying, see, you've done this, you've done this, you've done this, why would I accept you? Instead, he gets to see his son. What he sees is his son covering each and every one of those sins. Because we believe it. Just because we simply believe it in our hearts. And that's all he wants. Because that's all he wants to see. He doesn't want to see our sins anymore. He wants the whole point of what he did dying on that cross is all he wants to see. And that's so much bigger. It's more, that's true. That is true. That's why he says, I am the truth, the way, and the life. Because he is. That's all we have to believe. Believe in everything that he's done. Don't just believe who he is and that he did it, but believe the meaning. Believe why he did it. Once you do that and you feel forgiven, you can make those prayers, whatever you're going through in your life, and know that you're forgiven, and that's the past. He's gonna make it work through. You can make your prayer and be able to have a relief knowing that it's gonna come through. He's gonna answer that prayer, just because we simply believe that we are forgiven through him. He's our strength. We're weak. He is strong. Every time that we have those feelings or thoughts, that's all in the flesh. We do those things in the flesh, and then we feel like we can't be forgiven in the flesh. But knowing that we are forgiven, that's in the spirit. And that's all he wants to see. He don't want to see our flesh. Just like we don't want to live in the flesh. We want to live in the spirit. It's the same thing. Just feeling forgiven. Just feeling his mercy. It makes you smile. It really does. Because, like I said, when you feel ashamed, and you know, a lot of the time you do know that that's what you're supposed to do is feel forgiven, notice that he did it for a reason, and not letting him dying on the cross go to a waste. But sometimes that can be hard. It really can. Because it's like I've gone too far. But I've always do it. Or it's the same mistake every time, and I know I'm going to end up doing it again. But focusing on the whole point as to what he did and the reason, the meaning of it, covers all of that. Like I said, you can never go too far. And once you do that, it's so much easier to not make those mistakes again. Because you feel forgiven. It's not a point in whether you give up. It's like, I give up. I know I'm going to do it again. I'm never going to be good enough. But we never. Yeah, exactly. That's the whole point. You're right. You would never be good enough. I'm never going to be good enough. None of us would ever be good enough. And that's why we can rely on Jesus. He's always been good enough. He's the only one that has been good enough. He's the only one that will be good enough. And that's the point. So focus on that. Pray on that. Don't focus on your mistakes. Focus on his achievements, not your own. Because that was one of my biggest mistakes. And that alone is going to get you way further than any sin that you can make, is relying on yourself. So don't be religious. Religion isn't real. You might as well be Catholic or Buddhism, whatever it's called. Start worshiping statues if you want to be in a religious state. This is a true relationship. This is real. This isn't something that we could ever do in our own selves. We can never do that. And that's why God came down himself. As his son, he gave him the body here on earth to be tempted, put through every trial and tribulation possible, everything that he went through. There's a point. Don't let that go to waste. Like I said, that was my biggest mistake. And I still make that mistake sometimes, but I go back and realize, like, you know what? You did say this. That's what I'm going to put my belief in. That's what I'm going to put my faith in. And that, he's gaining our hearts. That's what he wants. He wants our hearts, not our actions. Of course, our action is, you have to put action for faith. There's no faith without action. But that's exactly what this is. This is putting action in me believing that he did it for a reason, instead of me putting the action in something that I feel like I got to do on my own. Then that just completely defeats the purpose of why he died on the cross. He wants us to rely on him, not ourselves. So feel forgiven. That is the message today. Feel his mercy. Feel forgiven. No longer ask God, why can't I do this right? Why am I still doing this? Or whatever the case may be. Instead of that, thank him. Thank him for breaking through that. Thank him for covering everything that you've done. Thank him for, I may do this again, Lord. Build me up, make me stronger. And if I do it again, I thank you for covering that sin. Whatever it may be, it doesn't matter. He's too strong for any of that to pull us down. So don't let it. Our own selves are a bigger enemy. Our own minds are bigger enemies. So don't be carnal. Don't have a carnal mind. And just believe. He did those things for a reason. He says he did them for a reason. That's the whole point of it all. It's not, he didn't die on the sins. He didn't die on the cross just so that way, we can have one sin forgiven, or every time that we say, please forgive this, then it's forgiven. Just know in your heart that everything that you can ever do wrong has been forgiven already. He knows what our mistakes are going to be before we've made them. So he already knows that they're going to be forgiven as long as we put our trust in, as long as we put our faith in that. It's all for a point. Don't let it go to waste. You want to watch a movie where you see him, being nailed to the cross, and you feel so bad for him. You see him going through all that, and then you want to dwell on your mistakes. That doesn't make sense. It's 50-50. That you got to be 100% with him. Instead of feeling like that, you should see that movie or whatever, see that scene being nailed to the cross, and feel forgiven, feel merciful. Just feel so, knowing that he's so merciful. I'm trying to find a better way to put it. I feel like I'm just repeating myself, going in a circle, but I really want to get it out there and show the true meaning of what I'm trying to say. It's hard to put in words, and that's why a lot of people don't understand the words in the Bible, because the way, whenever you do put it in words, it's hard to understand, because we have a carnal mind. That's why the Spirit has to pretty much, explain some of the words to us as we go through the Bible, because we sometimes don't understand, and we're carnal. We think, like we don't believe, we have to see what we believe. That's a carnal mind, for example. So put faith towards it all. Put faith towards the meaning of what he did. A lot of people think it's corny to always bring up, Jesus with everything, but that's everything points to the cross because of Jesus. That's what gets us anywhere else. We'd be nothing without that. We wouldn't at all. The Holy Spirit, the guider, our comforter, wouldn't be able to be with us to know these things, to have this faith and be able to trust in him if he didn't do what he did. That's a little off topic, but it was just there in my mind. I just wanted to share that part too, just because there's so much I just wanted to say, and I don't want to just talk about all kinds of random things, so I'll just make other videos. But please ask me, feel free to ask me any questions that you guys have, and if there's anything else that you want me to post about, put a comment down there, share it, whatever. Let me know whatever you want me to post about. I'm not going to post anything that I am not certain of. So if I'm not certain, I'll either try to, find where it's written in the Bible, or along with that, spend time with God to have the Spirit, put it in my heart, whatever it is. Feel free to ask me anything. And you can like the video if you want to. I'm not really here for the likes. If this changes, whether I get 1,000 views or 1 view, as long as it changes one heart or one person sees the truth of it all, that's the difference. That's all I want to see. But instead of another thing I want to put out there is, instead of relying on people, instead of going towards people, asking them questions, go to God. Where do you think all these people get all these answers from? Go straight to God. Like I said, I'm more happy if you ask me any questions. But of course, just know I'm going to God. So feel more free to go to him before anyone else. But I guess that's it. God bless.